Benson told me he doesn't know why I'm trying to go outside in this heat to do another project. So in my last video where I rebuilt my e-bike, you could see this other bike chilling back here, and you can't tell what kind of bike it is, but I'm going to tell you what kind of bike it is. It's a classic. It's an old e-scooter from the mid-2000s. It's an iZip HG1000, and for its age, it does fairly okay. I mean, there's a couple of cracks in it, but for the price I paid, it's nice. And it has pedals, technically making it an e-bike. It has a bunch of nice accessories attached, like this headlight here, and it even has the dated V-brakes, very era appropriate. It also has a trunk that you can use the battery key to open, and there's the rest of the fender there. Well, hopefully we'll get that fixed sometime. It uses a 36-volt system, and it runs. It runs great, actually. The brakes are a little scary, though. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about those yet. It has a working charger that looks like you're plugging in a computer. And now it's charging. And everything you see on the bike runs off a golf cart battery. This golf cart battery. Now right now the bike has a problem where it shuts off after you ride it a couple blocks, and we're going to try to fix that. I have to pull the battery out. In order to do that, I have to move the trunk out of the way. Now that I got the trunk off, we're going to go ahead and stuff some of the stuff inside the trunk for safekeeping, like the fender piece and the PC charger. Gotta make sure it's nice and tidy in there and everything fits nicely. We're going to tuck it away and shut the lid. And now we have enough room to be able to pull this 300-pound battery out of there. I really do like how, for as old as the bike is, one key still goes to everything. We unlock the battery, and we attempt to lift the 36-volt behemoth out of its shell. Whoops. So now we have the leverage, we're going to finally lift this bad boy out. Now I don't know what work's been done on it before, but obviously there was an issue with the battery being stuck in here, so I'll have to figure that out at some point too. And it's time to lure this introverted battery out of its shell. Come on out, battery. I've seen a ton of these Mighty Max batteries before. They're sold on Amazon for fairly cheap. There's 3 of them, 12 volts each, so that's 36 volts at 12 amp hours. So this should get me somewhere around 30 miles range. At my height and weight, we'll be lucky to get a third of that. Now there is an onboard fuse housing for a glass fuse, but it's not wired in. And that's because someone wired in this auto fuse instead. I actually like this mod. I also see a problem. It looks like this became disconnected. It's possible it was a cold solder joint. Well, we're just gonna have to fix that. I'm going to dig a little deeper into this, and we're going to take a look at the module to see if there's anything that's easily replaceable. There it is, fresh from 2007. It is the Ananda module. This little rust box runs the whole bike. I really am happy to see zip ties here. That means it's industry standard. That means what I did on my bike is industry standard. Now that we know what's inside this thing, it's time to go fix that battery case so we can drive it farther than a block. Now anybody who's watched my Xbox videos recognizes this setup. This is the solder setup. I have to put back that solder joint on that key switch. But first I have to get rid of all the old solder that I can, so that way I leave room for fresh solder. And now we're putting a little bit of tinning onto the key switch for the positive terminal. And we're going to go ahead and connect the 2 points. We should be good now. I go ahead and I give it a little bit of a tug just to see if it's good. Oh, we're golden. Since I'm in here, I might as well go ahead and flow some fresh solder into that other connection just to make sure that it's solid. And then I go ahead and I put it on the charger so it's ready for the next day. Now before I start riding an e-bike regularly, I like to give it a range test just to see how long I got before the battery runs out. Because there's nothing worse than you're in the middle of your ride and you run out of battery and you're in the middle of nowhere and you have no one to call and maybe your cell phone's dead and you're stuck pushing this 100-pound behemoth. Now the route I've chosen is a route I've known about a long time. It's about 10 miles long and it's in one of the nicer neighborhoods in town. And for my sake, I really hope I'm not pushing my e-bike all the way back to my car. Now we start at the park and we go all the way down this big street here, and then we're going to hang a right, and then we're going to go down this big street here. And it circles all the way around the neighborhood and comes right back to the park. Will we make it? Now we get to find out as we start off on the journey. A nice view from the handlebar cam. A little bumpy, but not too bumpy yet.
Hey guys.
Just a little bit of me being friendly. And now I'm making a right on the first big leg of the journey. Definitely action-packed. Now I get a little bit further up on the road and I run into my first problem. The road is a little bit bumpy, and then out of nowhere, my phone drops. Let me say in the future, I recommend this case I'm about to show you because it kept my phone alive. I don't have any major breaks, scratches, or anything. So that's not bad. I'm a fan. I get to the next intersection and everything is going okay. Not a problem. And then I'm at the next intersection and everything is okay. Now I'm a little worried about the battery, but so far I'm good. But that was the end of the good times. Because as I pulled up to the creek here, I finally started having real issues with my battery. Now one of the things I had to take into account with this whole build is that it was rebuilt before. That's why there was a bad solder joint. I just didn't know how old the batteries were, and I didn't know if they were the quality I needed to be able to make it the full range. But as you can see, even without anything on it, it occasionally drops down. So I decided on a quicker route home, so that way I wouldn't be pushing this thing for 1,000,000 blocks. The way I ended up going was down this bike path, which is a green belt that cuts through the neighborhood. And it got scary at times because there were some real shady characters. And you may be wondering, did I ever make it back to the start point at that park? I did. The only place I ended up pushing the bike back to was the car. I made it safe. The shortcut I took only cut 2 miles off my trip, and I had to do a lot of pedaling on the world's tiniest pedals to make sure I didn't run out of battery. What's really funny is if you look at the shape of this trip, it kind of reminds me of a pooper scooper. Yeah, like that. But this trip wasn't poop. It ended up bringing me a lot of data like the range. It also let me know the shortcomings of the bike, so I know what to upgrade when it's time. And also look at all the scenic views I got to see on this trip. And this was just relaxing until I started panicking about the battery. But it was great. And I ended up taking this scooter from a thing that was collecting dust in my backyard to something I can enjoy. Join me next time when either I finally make that next Xbox video, or I treat this outdated compute stick like the single board computer it really is. See you then.